Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. A little bit of a different kind of outlook here in terms of how my setup is. You've probably noticed I've got a bit of a green screen, so I will move. I hope you're well. Welcome, everyone. Feel free, if you're new around here, to press the like button, obviously, and hit the subscribe button if you're new. Starting to do more live content on my YouTube channel. Why not? Mix it up a little bit because it's easier and more fun and engaging. I'm currently looking at the poll that I've just put in now. Do you think the bottom is in? 74% people say no so far, which is interesting. Interesting to see that people think no. I think we're halfway there. If I'm going to be honest, I think we are halfway there. The reason why I say that is because I think that the break of structure with Bitcoin, for example, we need a pullback though. The pullback is vital. So let me know what you think. Let me know your opinions. We will go through the chart in a bit, but there's a lot of things happening over the course of the next few weeks with earnings. The S&P could be vitally important, and also what happens with, obviously, potential bankruptcies with Genesis, if there's going to be any sell-offs. Sam, as well, is out of prison. Weirdly, how the market is pumping and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, if you are new around here, like always, hit the subscribe button. If you like content, cool. Feel free to chuck any questions in at the bottom. And yeah, I will get to them at some point, but we will talk about the markets, and I'm going to just move my screen over because I've got a new bit of kit and I love it. It's great. So hopefully you can now see my screen, and I am now on your screen, and you can now see me, and it's pretty hunky-dory. So the bottom, is it in? Well, this is a thing, right? It's the ultimate question. There is a lot of YouTubers, not going to mention any names, am I? No, I'm not. That are thinking that the bottom is fully in. You can't say that yet. You know, in my opinion, you cannot say that yet. The reason why I say that is because we've got all this kind of fundamental bollocks in the background, which is huge. This whole debt limit is massively important to see what's going to happen here. This could go wrong. Like, in terms of this, it could be quantitative tightening comes to an abrupt end, or it could be quantitative tightening carries on longer with a much bigger problem, potential defaults on certain debt, because they cannot make any more money. They cannot, create any more money with the money printer to pay off said problems. So that is huge. It's a huge factor, and it's one thing that you got to look at. Wow, the US have hit the certain debt ceiling of whatever trillion it is. It's ridiculous. It's mad when you think that you got to print more money off to get rid of debt. It's like, it's like Monopoly, isn't it? Let's be fair. It's like Monopoly, right? The banks never go broke. So it's interesting, right? So this is one big, huge factor that we've got to kind of contemplate. I've already said the likes of earnings and stuff like that. So when we look at the obvious in terms of what's happening over the course of the week as well, we've got a lot of earnings coming out. We've got Microsoft today. We've got Tesla tomorrow as well for tech. Huge. Even Intel, Visa and stuff for technology. But big companies are kind of throwing out their earnings. They're not too bad at the moment, but we have got the GDP on Thursday, which could rumble the markets. I think a lot of volatility is coming over the next few weeks, which I'm excited about. It's nice, especially with crypto, because we have had a little bit of a break of structure, but I do not think we are out the woods yet. I think too many people are getting very, very excited, which is fine. But if you are aping in at resistance, it's probably a bad idea to do that, and I will explain in a bit. But all this information that's going to be dropping over the next few days is going to be very, very interesting. So keep an eye on the charts. But let's talk about something that I want to address here. You know, I talked about this, isn't it? Like, when we talk about the market, okay, how weird is it been since Sam has got out of prison on bail, and all of a sudden Solana's pumping mentally. All the other coins are going with it, and there isn't realistically much evidence to state. And this is what Ted has been saying on his Twitter as well. He made the indicator based on the Glassnode stuff, right? The stable currency supplies, even today when we look now, they haven't changed much. It's like no new money has actually got into the market yet, and it's not really trickling in yet, which is fine. But it makes you wonder, well, how much of this move has actually moved up just because we've plugged the gap from the FTX kind of dump, right? It may have been an absolute massive liquidity gap, right? So what I'm expecting here is at some point, don't know when, you know, I'm going to be old and grey and wrinkly when it happens. Are we going to get a pullback? Probably at some point, but it's just a matter of when. Now, this is my opinion, not financial advice, of course. If we hold this level and we create a change of direction, essentially, which will be a change of change of character realistically, we will for the first time in a long time, form a very, very clear and obvious higher low on the weekly time frame, that is a very, very good tick box exercise for a bottom. Now, the bad side to this could be we carry on going lower and it's just a monster fake out. It's a deviation. Now, we've got to look at the what if scenarios, right? Situation A, we find a level of demand here and we create that first time in a long time change of character where it's looking more likely that the bottom is in. Not 100%, but more likely because you got much bigger levels of support and the bulls have actually found some bollocks and actually held it for once, right? Because when you think back and you look at the entire market, what's been happening, we've just been going from the high to low, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, all the way down until potentially here. It is looking more and more likely like a bottom. But that being said, what if this is a fake out? What if this is all just a manipulated move and it's all due to certain bankruptcies and money claims and all kinds of bits and bobs, and it's not fresh, real liquidity into the market yet. It's not the retail people just yet, right? Then the other situation is the obvious one, and we just carry on going, right? And the worst situation is we carry on going and we find no demand at all and we melt even lower, right? That is the problem, right? For me, I'm going to be buying at these levels, at these potential pullbacks if we get low enough. Maybe not on Bitcoin, but on some other stuff, definitely. When we look at the likes of other altcoins, look at Ethereum, for example, right? Now, this is where it gets interesting for altcoins, right? The reason why I say that is because we haven't really broken fully out of the previous high. Double top pretty much on Ethereum. And guess what? If we fall back into this level, it's probably going to be a nice buy zone. But you've got to be absolutely certain, right? So don't just go all in. Always keep something, sitting there. But this is the problem, right? We're going from a mindset now potentially of buying the key levels and buying the lows like here, buy here, and expecting potential drawdown because you're trying to dollar cost average into the market. Versus now we're looking at going with momentum. If momentum is there, you buy on the pullback and then you keep buying on pullbacks essentially, and then you're back into a more better market, essentially a more bullish market. But the one thing I will say, we may well pull back and we may well consolidate for bloody ages. This could be a sideways market for the majority of the year. There's a lot of unsettled behavior, a lot of unsettled data that could be affecting the other markets, and people may not be wanting to invest. Also, if all the focus is on other markets, it may not be about crypto, because when we talk about this and we're looking at how some money came in with the potential regulation, situation that could be happening in the future, and obviously lawsuits with other coins, people may not be as willing to partake in the market as much as we think. So yeah, it's a massive factor, and this is like a huge thing for a lot of assets. Look at Near Protocol, for example, right? Monster move, but realistically, look at the downtrend it's in. These are still, in fairness, fair value levels considering where the highs have been. But buying these top levels is like, oof. If there's a pullback, it'd be pretty tasty, I reckon, for a lot of people, because it will give confidence. But as I said, it may continue going lower. We just don't know what's going to happen. We do not know when this turns around, how many people are trapped up here. I think a lot of people will be trapped at these tops. A lot of impatient bulls will be trapped, and the shorts will happen. Then we'll start to get the impatient bears, and they'll start shorting it down, and it'll just bounce again. That's what's kind of happened. But a lot of people are panicking a little bit. I think a lot of people feel that they've missed the bottom, but realistically, you should have been buying. Like these low levels, you should have been having some input in the market. I've been tweeting about it all November. Buy key levels. This is low. This is fantastic value. It may go lower, but live with the drawdown, right? The art of the game is survival. But my biggest worry more than anything is, as I said, what if throughout the year we're just going to be consolidating for a while? It's happened before and it's horrible. We've had it a few months ago, sat there for ages. Absolutely dog shit. Dog shit. It happens, but it does happen, and we've got to live with it, unfortunately. But yeah, hope everyone's well. If you're not yet liked the video, please do. This is live for the first time in a long while. I'm doing a normal video live, so I'm hoping for replay people. It's not too bad and you don't notice much of a difference. But yeah, feel free to smash a like on it. I mean, do what you want to do. But yeah, some interesting questions. Anybody who's not saying the bottom is in a missed out and is biting their nails for the dip, potentially, yeah. I think we're at 50-50 kind of levels now. It's kind of a what if situation. I think, as I say, a lot of things have broken structure, mainly Bitcoin. We want to look for like a proper break there finally for the first time. But we've had this in the past. Oopsie. Don't need that, do I? We've had this in the past where we've had a little break like here. I was like, right, momentum, where are we? Are we going to get it? No, we died. So we don't want a repeat of March. So this is why I'm saying it's like 50-50. Anyone saying that the bottom's fully in, they're talking shit. Anyone saying the bottom's not in, they're talking shit, because we're still unknown. Like, we cannot, you know, this is a past. This is telling us exactly what happened, right? Showing you exactly, break a structure, cool. Pull back, no, oh shit. You know, it's a nightmare. So you got to wait for that situation. You can't just go, well, it could happen. Well, obviously, yes. But the reality is, we're playing with data and information, but I would love it, personally, if this was the bottom. Like, I'd be quite happy to be able to put my capital in there and be happy, because I've already been buying low. Not so much on Bitcoin, but I have been buying low on other altcoins, and I've taken some profit off the table just in case we do drop to get more units. But if that means me putting more capital in at that level and being happy to, with no more drawdown potentially, fingers crossed, we all do well. Potentially. But we'll see. But yeah. Hold on, let's look at the poll. So 40% believe that the bottom is in. 60% say no. But it's interesting. My gut's telling me that there's still a lot of fundamental bollocks in the financial market, right? All this kind of stuff's going to be a massive factor. But what my gut is telling me, that I do feel we are near the bottom, because I think the interest in the crypto market is a lot lower now, and therefore we're not going to be as rumbled. Reality is, we could go much lower, but it may not be because of negative news. It might just be because no one's trading it and it's a bit boring and people have jumped ship a little bit. So we'll see how things do go. But it seems to be a decent amount of interest in terms of the overall market. Like, it's a much bigger market than it was. We're still holding roughly $1 trillion of like perceived value, if you're going to put it that way. So it's interesting to see. But yeah, for me, you know, if you can take profits, if you bought like really nice low levels on certain altcoins and you've taken a little bit off the table, you know, there's nothing wrong with paying yourself, because if this does pull back, it could be a nice place to put more capital in, obviously, and get more units for free, which is what everyone wants realistically. But yeah, the reality is there's a lot of unknown still. And yeah, I would rather buy with levels of support than I would buy the FOMO wick and the candle of resistance, which is kind of normal, but we'll see how things go. What other questions have we got? Since January 1st, BTC has run with gold. Well, yeah, that's it. That's an interesting point as well. So we are kind of, you could probably argue, I wouldn't say fully, but since the start of the year and the turn of the year, this is a big rally. This is a lot of green, strong, bullish momentum on gold. It will eventually turn around. It will pull back like anything, but I don't want to say the word don't bet against crypto, because it's still new, it's still brand new. Let's be fair here, it's brand new. It's never dealt with a recession before. And the one thing that was the marketing machine of crypto back a few years ago was, it's going to beat inflation, it's going to be the hedge against recession. It was created out of all them kind of buzzy words, right? And you think to yourself, oh, cool. At the minute, it seems to be bollocks, but there may be something in this. There may be something that if cash is going to become a problem and recession is going to be an issue, and investment vehicles for risk, you know, risk off, risk on, whatever way you want to go with it, Bitcoin and crypto may be something that could be looked at. Keyword, could be looked at. I don't know. That's just speculating. So if it is going to run with the likes of gold and silver and stuff like that, cool. That'd be brilliant. I'd be happy. I'll be happy for that to happen. But the reality is, right, it depends on the cash flow, and it depends on the perceived interest and the perceived thing of crypto, because we have been slaughtered lately. So that's why I'm saying it's very, very interesting to see how people will react to crypto being a potential option for people to put their money in during a recession. Because people put their money into classic cars, into property, into artwork, whatever it may be, NFTs, Bitcoin, and fucking whatever else it could be these days. Scary. But that being said, with the likes of gold, for example, when we look at this, I mean, yeah, I mean, it probably will pull back. If we're going to go from the top of the move to now, we could be seeing chunky levels of resistance where we may well pull back. This will pull back. It always does. It's gold. But it just depends on how much it will pull back. It may not pull back that much. But looking at the dollar's starting to slowly turn around here. Like, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting to see, but the tech world and the stock market news and the layoffs and all that kind of good stuff is interesting to see what's going to happen with the likes of crypto. But this could be the first time for a lot of people that we've actually done something totally different than we expect. So we are closer. I think we are close to the bottom, personally. I think we are getting closer. I just think we need a few more tick boxes to see what's going to happen with the economy. GDP will be interesting across Europe and obviously America to see if the economy is slowing. If that then speeds up unemployment rates, if that it speeds up obviously job layoffs, it's going to be a full-blown recession. And then will crypto and all that kind of stuff go up? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. We'll see. But the big problem that we've got is it's not so much like people invest in, will it be institutions? And that might be the thing. And we often say, well, how are people going to eat and power their houses and invest? Well, they're not. It may be someone else pushing this market to follow the likes of gold, if that makes sense. So it's all what ifs, maybes, and who's, but it's the first time we've had a recession, potentially. So it'd be interesting to see, but this is why I'm still in crypto and buying the lows or as much as I can. What other questions we got? Nice to see everyone here, by the way. Hello. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. If you want to know what else I do, check out the links below. I have a lot of stuff going on in my Patreon and stuff like that, which is pretty awesome. Oh my god, there's loads of questions. Do you see anything bigger than FTX happening? Probably not. I think that was a big one. I don't think Binance are really going to be in any, well, unless the US can pin something on them, but I think Binance has pretty much survived all its FUD. But yeah, we'll see. Stock market probably hasn't bottomed yet. Probably, yeah. But crypto could be a nice hedge against the stock market for a lot of people, potentially, if it does go lower. I mean, Bitcoin can't go down forever. If this is a massive fake out, whoa, it's going to hurt a lot of people, I think. But that being said, as I mentioned before, if you've just recently joined, this 18,000, 17,000 kind of level of a pullback range from the past of levels, you know, where we've kind of got stuck not too long ago, is key. That is absolutely key. Key levels to hold if we ever go back and retrace them. If the Fed only do a 25-point base, do you think that it will continue to pump? Not really, because I think it's already priced in, essentially, because I think people are expecting it. It's still a rate rise. It's not a pivot. It's not a change. It's still 25 base points getting added. So it's going to be interesting. We'll be very surprised if we see the bottom already this early into 2023. I'm already thinking we have one more crash. I personally think if this pullback is savage enough, I think it's going to hurt regardless. I think even if we don't go and test the lows, if this snaps back to 18,000, 17,000 pretty quickly and it catches a lot of trap bulls, it's going to hurt. And I think people get very, very pissed off. I won't be. I'll probably chuckle, but it is what it is. Risk management and all that. What else? Should we care about Grayscale? Grayscale, again, another unknown entity in terms of what they're going to do. They may well sell off. They may not. Who knows? Depends on how in bed they are with certain equity funds that have obviously gone bust. Whoopsie. Yeah. Agree if the rates keep going up, we will definitely see a pullback. Canadian government plans to keep raising rates slowly. Stagflation will happen. Yeah, I think there will be an issue of stagflation I think high interest rates with deflation and all that kind of stuff is a bad idea in itself, never mind stagflation. So when you add it all together, it's a bit of a shitstorm. But as I say, people may well look at crypto as a risk asset and be like, oh, I'll put money in crypto for a bit. Depends on how much percentage-wise we're talking, because if we are only $1 trillion and the stock market slowly bleeds out and the economy gets less and less usage of like people's capital and spending and obviously increased job layoffs, people may go, you know what, cryptocurrency may be a good little place to put 5% of my wealth, thinking, fuck. If people have that mindset, you may get a bit of a run, but we'll see. Can you put a fib on Litecoin? I probably can. If we're looking, let's have a little look at, if we're going to look at the start of this previous move here, that's quite nice actually. Yeah, that's quite nice, because if you're putting the 618 levels on and just plotting along, you got an obvious level there of demand, which could be previous levels of support. Obviously, we're broke below and then blasted through it. That's quite a good little level. The reality is, though, this is still, I think, Litecoin's a bit of a weird one. It always seems low. But yeah, that's not a bad little area to be if we're looking at that. If we're going to look from the overall move, you're probably looking a little bit lower, obviously. So it depends on which way you want to do it. I personally do it from the previous swing just to see what move they've done, especially on the higher time frames. It just makes more sense because sometimes you're already in a move here. So with this, for example, you've already had this pulled back to the 618. We've already gone towards this extension level. So yeah, you got to be somewhat careful where you put them. But if we're going to go from the overall move, a lot of demand probably around here somewhere. We'll see. But yeah, crashes are normally in crypto even every back to 3 trillion. Yeah, every couple of months is always some sort of drastic drop, isn't there? Like you got to think, and the reality is, like look at the downtrend. Like there's always some big clanger candles that like hurt. This was a tough period. That was like the whole lunar crash was pretty horrific, and then obviously FTX down here, this kind of level, it's pretty ugly, wasn't it? But it is what it is. I mean, you just got to survive, and survival is key. And if you can survive this market and you're coming out the other side with the ability to buy as much as you can, you're pretty much, you're doing all right, because that's the art of investing now. With a vehicle like crypto, it moves a lot more versus obviously the S&P and all that kind of stuff. So if we look at the S&P futures, for example, here, this is all going to depend on obviously how much the earnings are going to come out over the next few weeks. Now, if this does melt to the downside, it could be very interesting to see what's going to happen there, because obviously then companies will start panicking. Oh, the stock prices are falling again. Oh no, consumer confidence is falling. Oh no, job layoffs. Oh yippee! It's not going to be great, but we've still got these obvious, lower highs. It's like not a break of structure yet. We've got one here in terms of a higher low, but it's it didn't form from a structure break, so it's a bit shit, to be fair. And we'll see. Swissborg Series A worth a punt? Probably not, to be fair. I just use Swissborg for the utility of the on-ramp, off-ramp, because it's fantastic. But I don't invest in the coin itself. Sold my BTC at 23,300, now waiting for a pull. But that's a not bad move. That, depending on obviously when you bought, being able to sell at that level is pretty good. Like, reality is, even if you bought a little bit of 17,000, it's a nice little run, because even a little bit of profit, it's nice. Because some of the gains, some have done like 2, 3, 4, 5x. It's like, what? In such a short time, it's crazy. But money makes money, and if you can buy as low as you can in dollar value for the more units, and then obviously the prices go up, it's like you notice it, and it's like, oh shit, it's crazy. But hey ho, it is what it is. It just depends on where you're going with it. Anyone got any more questions or whatever? But the poll is still 39% of people still think that the bottom is in, and 61% think not. Interesting. It'll be very, very interesting to see where this does actually go. But yeah, it's good to see a lot of people on though, on a random afternoon. But I will be doing more live content. I think it'll be a lot easier than just video editing all the time. But yeah, if you're not yet done so, hit the like button, it's free. Whee! But now, there's a lot of people saying that the bottom is in. But the reality is, and the subject to this whole entire video is, you need a lower high to kind of say that. Reality is you need that genuine pullback and then level of support to kind of keep us afloat. But a lot of people are genuinely, and we do giggle about it, just screaming the bottom's in, right at resistance. Interesting. Yeah, it's a good point about the 4 years ago, the same thing sort of happened. The market did a free extra in the first semester. That was due to the Ponzi schemes. There was 2 big Ponzi schemes at the time. Was it Cloud Token and Plus Token? They were like, I think one of them was equivalent worth of $6 billion worth of volume going through it. And that was one of the biggest things that pushed that market up. But with no other retail interest, it was just that. And it was crazy, and that was a great opportunity. That literally, no word of a lie, that saved my ass, that run. Because I was able to buy lower, thinking, right, I'm just going to buy BTC. I was buying Bitcoin like $3,000-4,000, thinking, oh, fuck me, this is getting a bit tight. And then that run just saved my bacon massively, because it wasn't just, the altcoins didn't really move much. It was just Bitcoin. It was so weird. And that was very, very weird. That's how I discovered how, important dominance was 4 years ago, which is quite nice. Do you think Axie will see $100? Probably not, no. It's a bit of a, isn't it a Binance weapon of destruction for money or something? It's like whatever they did with it, they completely broke it. They want to be in, we probably don't think it will be. Sold FTM at 23. Not bad. Ash, can you put a fib on Glimmer just so I can confirm I got it right? Yeah, I can. Bear with me. The only thing with this Glimmer chart that really fucks me off, can they just cut this bit off so it makes the chart look less dead, please? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Zoom in. Ooh, oh god, hold on a minute. Ooh. There we go. So yeah, literally, I am so lucky. I got an order in at 32 cents. So I thought it was at 29 cents. It was actually at 32. It's like, yes, thank you for that little order. Yeah, I'd look at that in all fairness. You know, if we're going to look at the obvious. Now, that looks like a pretty horrible looking candle at the minute. As a potential rejection, we could be rolling over here. But yeah, for me, I'd be looking and isolating this kind of region here easily. You know, it's quite a big area, but also you got to think like it's also been a level of support and resistance in the past. It's been levels of resistance when it tried to get back up again. It held its support a little bit, went back down, then we've broken out above it. That'll be an interesting area, but also you got to think here as well, even 42 cents could be quite interesting because you got all this shite up here. So there's definitely levels of interest there where you could find, well, maybe some orders, but I would like it to go back down into these levels again. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. But yeah, I was looking at my next big order here, but I already had one. Like I was filtering down from like 35 cents and just, yeah, because it took so long. You got to think like, yeah, it'll go down, but you got to think this is November, and like when you're sitting waiting for things to happen, it takes fucking forever. So I was getting a bit impatient, so I had one at 32 cents, which was lucky, very, very lucky indeed. But yeah, all is good. But yeah, I'd aim for that, to be fair. Just better safe than sorry. If it goes lower, guess what? Do you know when Pulse Chain will launch? I have no idea what Pulse Chain is, mate. Not a clue. Does BTC dominance have to be in the 1670s? No, because it'll never happen now. So BTC dominance will never go that high because the market has grown so much. You just got to look at this as a trend developing tool or a trend market tool, right? So obviously it's going up right now. BTC dominance, i.e. that is going up because Bitcoin is stronger than everything else at the minute, as you can probably imagine. So when you think of the past, like when you look back at the data, this was before stable currencies. Obviously this melt here. Stable currencies weren't massive. Like, well, they were, but Tether rank 3, USDC rank whatever. You know, you got BUSD now, you got DAI pretty strong. So you got 4 big altcoins that are stable coins, which are pretty dominant in the market. Obviously, you got Ethereum too, and BNB, the rise of BNB. So this will never go back up to these stupid ass levels of the past. This is good times, but you get the idea. But the reality is, right, if this is starting to trend up, it's a dangerous thing for 2 things. 1, altcoins, and B, how strong is Bitcoin versus altcoins? Because if Bitcoin remains strong and the altcoins don't keep up with it, and Bitcoin has that little USD nosedive, it's going to hurt a lot for a lot of people. So you got to be very, very mindful of that. But no, I would expect BTC dominance to get to about 48% again at some point, somewhere. Don't know when. We'll see. But that's kind of the golden level where we want to see it at some point in its lifestyle, like life cycle even. But we'll see. What other questions? We've got quite a few. Sorry if I do skip them, but there's quite a lot. Any prediction? Ripple lawsuit? Not a clue. Not keeping up with it at all. I think it's bad for the space having that lawsuit. As much as like, I mean, XRP and Ripple Labs, whatever. It's Marmite, isn't it? Like people love it, people hate it. But for me, I think it's bad for the space. It's a bad look that it's been targeted so much. But we'll see how things go. What other questions have we got? Loop. Are you still bullish on memes? I am if they go low enough. I think it's a narrative coin. I think this cycle I'm going to keep some money aside just to go in them just for the shits and giggles, see what happens. But there's always narrative coins, and the meme coins was one. Let's have a little look. We've got loads of questions today. How does Loop Ring look to you? Don't know. Not looked at it for a while. It's not really. I mean, it's got some levels of structure break, but not. Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's been in a bit of a consolidation here. Then obviously this massive ass fake out. That's a bit of a weird one. Yeah, it's an odd one, that one, but a massive. Yeah, you could probably argue a very, very obvious hidden bearish divergence is appearing. So just be careful with this one. Again, like anything, it needs to fall back. It's a bit overrun. It's getting a bit mental, isn't it? A bit toppy. Let's have a little look. It is surprising that that you talked last month about bullish sentiment before the reversal happened, assuming you were super bearish. I did say to people, the lower it goes, the more bullish I'll get, because that's where the fear kicks in. So when the fear kicks in, you got to think opposite. So it's like now, right? Easy to say it now. Everyone's getting hopeful that the bottom's in. Everyone's getting hopeful that we're going to carry on going to the moon, right? And it's a new bull cycle. It may be, it may not be. But this is a time where you got to take some money off the table. You got to think differently, because wrecked plebs will get wrecked, obviously. And it's the same with the greedy shorters, right? People will short the bottom, or people will sell the dip, and then you buy those. Yeah, you'll buy those assets, which is nice. So you got to think differently. So I did say I was I was going to get more bullish, and I did a video on it. I literally talked about it being right. I'm buying these levels. If it goes to here, I'm going to buy this, and I outlined it for everyone. And it's like, but everyone fucking missed it. That's normal. It is one of those. What questions? I've got quite a lot. Thoughts on Q4? I've no idea. Normally there is a rally in hype around halving, and this is why I'm thinking we may go sideways for a while, then we may well rally. This is why this this higher low is actually really, really important if we do get it. But yeah, we'll see how things go. Is Veracity in your portfolio? No. Pulse chain. Got a load of pulse chain people here. Richard Hart is in trouble with the SEC. I'm surprised he's not been arrested yet, to be fair. I think he should be arrested for his dress sense, never mind freaking anything else. Why don't you move to Dubai? I like England, to be fair, quite nice. I won't be able to walk my dog in Dubai. It'll bloody melt, poor bugger. Any idea on A0? I've not looked at A0 for a very long time, actually. It was on my little watch list for a while, and then I kind of didn't look at it for a while. Seems to be holding up pretty well since its launch or whenever it came out. That's a nice little pattern, but again, same old pattern, isn't it? We need a retracement. This is going to pull back, and you know, you got genuine levels of interest here around $1, which could be very, very interesting. So keep an eye on $1. But yeah, as I say, depends what Bitcoin does. If the biggest alarm bell that I've got, if BTC dominance keeps rising and the altcoins don't keep up with it, and Bitcoin has that pullback, altcoins will have bigger, horrible, uglier, yes, let's be fair here, corrections, so it could be fine. Solana TA. There's not much to look at in Solana, to be fair, other than this. So levels of resistance is here. This will pull back at some point and probably retest $15 if it's going to go somewhere, because there's a massive gap. The big problem with the TA on Solana is the obvious. There's a huge gap. It's like, well, there's nothing there. It's like, it may well go down here, but I don't know. Let me have a little look, actually. Yeah, it's right where the 618 is, where that level is. So that is really interesting TA. So yeah, it might well go down to $14 again. May not. Who knows? Whatever. Are airdrops worth the risk? Depends which one. Depends which ones. There's been some good airdrops recently for like is it the new layer 1 blockchains like Sue and stuff like that, random ones. Some of them are not too bad. Do you day trade? No, I don't. I just do positional holds, long-term time frame. This is why I'm looking at like the daily, the 2-day, the 3-day time frame, realistically. Oh dear. Why are people fighting in my chat about Hex? But yeah, I only invest / swing trade. I only swing trade for fun, realistically. I don't really do it. I don't have time to do it. You got to really look at like everything to do it all the time. So I'm only trading DOT at the minute just for fun, just in Patreon. But I've not done a trade yet because we haven't pulled back or we haven't done anything. I am looking at this, like this is my TA for it. I'm basically waiting for weakness in this area, which we may be getting soon. If that is nice, I may well short it, but I may not. But I'm also waiting for a pullback around this point, or around roughly a little bit lower, to be fair. But we'll see. It's very, very early days yet. It's like nothing really happening apart from this monster hidden bearish divergence. Looks pretty clean on this TA, to be fair. But yeah, I'll be waiting for a nice little pullback, I think, to go long. But yeah, it may well just go a little bit lower. I may just stop here. So I've plonked it right in front of it for now. We'll see. Any thoughts on VET? VeChain's all right. It's just, it's been around for such a long time. What else have we got? Could you explain when and how did you learn trading? I learned technical analysis back in 2015, 2016, because I was an investor in the stock market, and I started to learn through that. And then through that, I learned about crypto, and then through that, I learned about other things. And then here I am doing a live stream with you buggers, which is always good fun. Takes time. But yeah, I just do very, very simple TA. Simple is better. Too many people put too many indicators on the chart and it looks like a fucking dog's dinner, and then you're confused. It's not ideal, but we'll see. Does slashing concern you with dot? No, I've never had a slash before, other than going for a piss, if you know what that term is. But no, I've never had one before. So yeah, I'm pretty good with my what do you call it? My validators. Do you see BTC pulling back? No, not. I don't think 10k is going to happen. I said the most obvious level was between 14 and 12k as like a really, really nice clean level. I think under 10k, something's gone wrong. And for obvious reasons, I cannot say what's going to go wrong because I can't tell the future. But yeah, like if you're looking at the BTC chart, and I think it's very, very easy to map this out. You just look left and you just think to yourself, well, this level here is like the most obvious 13k level. Anything below that, I'm like, I'm like clutching because there's a lot of demand around that 10k level. So I think sub 10k is going to be an absolute stretch, but we'll see. Is Richard Hart toxic from cryptos? People who sacrifice pulse sex are totally wrecked. I have no idea what people are talking about with Hex and Pulse Coin or Richard Hart. I don't keep up to date with it. Any thoughts on Rose? Rose is good. Yeah, happy with Rose. Decent. Don't even know where it is in terms of the chart analysis at the minute. The bottom area, we're here. Lovely. The problem with, as I said before at the start of this, a lot of altcoins are still in this formation where it's looking a bit like a dog's dinner. So we've got to break certain levels to get it really going and motoring. But until that happens, so this is why I'm saying pullbacks will be probably necessary to do that swing to the next side, because a lot of altcoins are like this. They look like this. They've got like levels up here where they need to break up towards, but they need to pull back to go towards it. Unless it does it in one hit, but I can see, you know, are we really going to go like 100% on something like this and not have a pullback? Probably unlikely, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, I'm going to bugger off because I've been here for way too long, longer than I expected. But no, appreciate all the questions and the feedback and stuff. I'll be back tomorrow anyways. I want to do altcoins tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do crypto news and altcoin analysis for you all. So if you got any more questions, save them for tomorrow. And yeah,